Okay, hello. I'm going to try and teach you Mainies by Matt Corby on guitar. I did a cover of this song on my channel recently and a couple of people asked for a tutorial or some tabs, both of which I hope to provide here. So this song is played on a classical guitar on the record, but you can play it on a normal acoustic guitar and it should sound fine. The tuning is DADGAD, so it's... And in my cover video I played it on the 2nd fret, but on the record he plays it with the capo on the 3rd fret. So I'm going to put that on here. And he sort of plays this in quite an improvisational way, both sort of on the record and live. The way that I learned this was based on the Live at Fonda version on YouTube. And so I would say the way that I'm going to teach you is sort of 95% accurate to what it is on the record and what he plays live, but there's always some room for improvisation, so see how you get on with it. So capo's at the 3rd fret, and I would say this song is kind of broken down into 6 sections really. Just kind of the intro, the slide melody, verse melody, chorus, a second version of the chorus, and then an outro. So I'm going to kind of try and break down each of those 6 sections. So, starting with the intro. So, that's played like this. So, what's going on here? So, if we slow it down. So, we've got... so, I'm going to refer to this as the 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, and all fret sort of numbers I'm going to now do relative to the capo. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So we start with the open 6th string, open 5th string, open 4th string, hammer on 2nd fret of the 4th string, hammer on 4th fret of the 4th string, and then we've got open 3rd string, open 2nd string, open 1st string, so it's... And then we've got this interesting sort of hammer-on thing going on the 3rd string. So we're starting 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and we're going to hammer on to the 4th fret of the 1st string and off again to the 2nd. And then off again to open. And then we're doing this other hammer-on bit, which is kind of open 4th string, hammer on to the 2nd of the 4th string, hammer on to the 4th of the 4th string, and then again we've got some open strings. So altogether that intro is... And then we've got this next little bit of the opening, which is... And that's kind of, we're playing kind of the same picking pattern all the way through. So we're going to start with the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And we're playing this pattern. So we're going 5th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string, 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string. And then we're going to repeat that pattern, but just changing which fret we're on, essentially. So we're going 2nd, 3rd, 5th on the A string on this 5th string, and then we're going to go down to here, 5th on the low D, and then the 2nd on the low D. So it's going to be like this. There's sort of an open there, so. And that's kind of the intro. That's kind of all of it. And then we're going to move on to the slide melody, which is this bit. And so how are we starting with that? We're starting with an open on the 6th string again. And then we've got we're playing these top 2 strings, the 1st and the 2nd string. And we're going to start with the 3rd fret on the 2nd string and the 2nd fret on the 1st string. And we're going to slide up. Going to slide up to the 5th fret on the 2nd string and the 4th string on the 1st string. And then we're going to slide back down. And there's kind of an open note in between. And then we're going to keep our finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, but we're going to take our finger off of the 1st string and play it again. Play all 3 notes, the 6th, 2nd and 1. And then we're going to hammer back on and back off. So we've got this. So where do we get to? Got to. And then we've got this kind of funny little bit which goes, and what we're doing there is we're doing 6, 3, 2, and then 1. And it's kind of a hammer on. It's a hammer on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So we got, and then we got a pull off. We've got kind of a fret and pull off on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then we've got a hammer on. Yeah, we got to have. It's quite hard to describe this, but there's. You can hear that probably. So it's a hammer on, fret pull off, hammer on, open 1, open 2. And then we're into the next little bit of that slide, which is the so with this, it's the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then we're pulling off, we're fretting the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, pulling off, and then doing open 3, 4. And we're doing pretty much the same thing then, 1 fret down. So altogether that side section is. There is a hammer on actually here, so from the open 5th to the 3 to the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So that's kind of the slide section. In the second time he plays it after the first chorus, there's one slight addition, which is he does a little hammer on. So on this top string, so when we're in that position of 5th fret on the 2nd string and 4th fret on the 1st string, he's going to hammer on the 1st string from the 4th up to the 5th fret. So it's. But otherwise it's all pretty much the same. And then we're into what I'd say is kind of the main finger picking pattern of this song, which is kind of the verse riff. And so that does this. And so what's going on here? We've got open on the 6. So we've got open on the 6, open on the 2nd string, and then we've got open on the 4th string, and then hammer on 2nd to the 4th fret. And then we've got an open 1st string. And then we've got an open 3rd string, open 2nd string, and then we're pulling off from the 2nd fret to open on the 4th string. So we've got, and then we've got another open 3, 2. And then we've got this kind of hammer on from the open 5th. You'll recognize this section from sort of the end of that side bit. So it's 3rd fret on the 5th string, 3rd fret on the 2nd string, pulling off, open 3, 4. So that what we've just played is. And then it basically kind of repeats it again, but it does this weird little hammer-on thing. So far we're open 6, open 2nd, open 4th, 2nd, 4th, hammer on the 4th string, and then we're going to do this weird hammer-on bit. So what it's going to be is on the 3rd fret, we are going from the 3rd string, 2nd fret. There's lots of numbers in this. 3rd string, 2nd fret, hammering on to the 4th fret, and then back down to 2, back down to 0. It's that kind of, it's quite fast. That's what we're playing. So we've done, and then we're going back onto the 4th string, open, hammer on 2nd, hammer on 4th, open 5th, and then back to that. So altogether we've got it does actually do a slight variation here. So after we've done that hammer on, back up 0, 2, 4 on the 4th string, he kind of keeps that 4th fret on the 4th string as he goes back to this kind of 3rd fret on the 5th string. And we're playing 5th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string. But then he kind of takes it off for the next bit down here. So we're kind of back to what we were doing before. Okay, so that's the verse bit. That's kind of the foundation for the song, I would say. That's kind of the main bit. I would almost learn that bit first if you want. And then we're into the chorus, which is refreshingly simple. So I should say as well on that verse riff, so he kind of, sometimes he will do a pull off on this. It's like a proper blues kind of blend. 3rd fret and then open on the low E. So I think in the intro, kind of before he goes into the main bit of the verse, he kind of does that. And then the chorus is So the chorus is, you're starting with the 2nd fret on the 6th string and the 2nd fret on the 2nd string. And it's pretty much just doing the same finger picking pattern all the way through, which is... So you've kind of got the thumb is doing this thing on both the 6th and the 4th string. And your other fingers are sort of playing... They're playing sort of 2, 1, 3, but what you've got in practice, you know, you're doing those things at the same time, so it's... So you're playing the 6 and the 2 together, and then you're playing the 4th with the thumb. And then you're playing this open first, back to the 6th. Nice kind of circular pattern, so. And then you're moving that whole thing from the 2nd fret up to what would be the 9th fret relative to the capo. On here it's like the 12th fret. Playing that, bringing it all down to the 10th. Sorry, it would be the 7th fret relative to the capo, but the 10th on this guitar. So it's just a nice kind of circular pattern. And then kind of ending with an open 2nd, and then you're back into the verse. And then back into the slide with that addition. Okay, so hopefully this is making sense. And then there's kind of just 2 more sections to teach really, which is kind of a second version of the chorus, and then kind of leading into the outro. So the second version, he kind of goes... The song is kind of winding down by this point really, so we've done some other verses. And then he's kind of... And so what you're doing there is you're starting the 4th fret of the 6th string, but still maintaining that same picking pattern that we've just learned in the chorus, where it's kind of going between the 6 and the 4 on the thumb and the 2, 1, 3 on the other fingers. And then we're moving that up to the 5th fret on the 6th string. And then we kind of bring it down to the 2nd fret on the 6th string, and we've got a hammer on onto the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, but otherwise still playing the same pattern. In fact, it's the same pattern. It's just that we're getting a hammer on there onto the 2nd fret. So we've got. And then we're keeping that same pattern. We're moving it up to the 3rd fret. Now I like to kind of do a bit of a jump here and kind of switch to my 3rd finger and my pinky, because it allows me kind of to get into the next position for the next chord I need to play after that. But you could just move the whole thing up with your middle and ring finger if you wanted to. But and then so we're going, but same picking pattern. And then we're going to play this one where it's kind of the 1st fret on the 5th string and the 3rd fret on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, open 2nd to end, and then we're back into that verse thing. And there's this bit I probably have neglected to teach you, which is occasionally ending the verse riff, he'll go, so leading to the chorus and that kind of thing. It's a 5th fret, sorry, it's the 5th string, 2nd fret, open 1st string, open 3rd string, open 2nd string. So, and then the last bit really to teach you is the outro, which is, so we've gone back into that verse riff, and then there's this kind of bit where he goes. And so what he's doing there is 3rd fret on the 6th string. And then we've got, so yeah, 3rd fret on the 6th string, open 2nd, open 3rd, open 4th, open 1st, open 2nd, open 3rd, open 4th. And then doing the same thing but moving this up to the 5th fret on the 6th string. So. And then we've essentially got the same riff as we had in the intro, which is open 6, open 5, open 4, hammer on 2nd, hammer on 4, open 3, 2, 1. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the song. I don't know how I explained that, but hopefully you can make it out from what I said, and the tabs that I'll hopefully have on screen, and the finger picking patterns that I've had a second camera filming. It's better than nothing, right? Hope you learn it and enjoy it. Thank you.